Okay, let's really unpack this. Have you ever picked up a handmade item and felt, a connection to the person who made it or maybe the place it came from? There's definitely a story in every stitch, every carve, every single brushstroke. But what if those stories and the livelihoods they represent were disappearing?
It's a really important question.
Exactly. So today we're diving deep into the world of traditional crafts. You might think of them as, I don't know, quaint remnants of the past. But what we found in our sources is fascinating. They're actually experiencing this unexpected resurgence, especially in rural areas, acting as these powerful engines for, well, economic growth and cultural resilience. We're here to give you the shortcut to understanding why.
Hmm.
So our deep dive today is built on quite a stack of sources. We've got proposals on revitalizing crafts, articles looking at challenges, say, in India,
Yeah.
and also a really comprehensive bibliometric analysis that's basically a study looking at loads of published research data on how crafts factor into local development, plus insights on modern marketing and tourism strategies.
And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is how these crafts are not just about beautiful products.
Yeah.
They really aren't. They are intricately woven into the cultural fabric, the identity, and crucially, the economic well-being of entire communities.
Yeah.
This deep dive, well, it's going to reveal just how much is at stake, but also how much potential there is for revival.
Yeah.
It's quite surprising, actually.
Absolutely. So let's start there with the significance of these crafts. There's so much more than just stuff, right? Our research really highlights this. They're like living artifacts. They embody stories, traditions, and identities passed down through time.
Exactly. And for centuries, artisans have used, locally sourced materials, techniques passed down generation after generation to create things that are both functional and beautiful, decorative.
Yeah, think about it. That piece of pottery you love, or maybe a hand-woven rug, it's a direct line, isn't it? A tangible line back to history, to a specific place and its people.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond just the objects themselves. Crafts have historically played such a crucial role in the social and economic life of rural areas. They provided goods for local use, sure, but also vital opportunities for trade. They fostered community for generations.
Mm.
In fact, groups like the European Network of Rural Artisans, they define crafts as these sort of multifaceted powerhouses. They generate employment, they strengthen social cohesion, they're huge potential tourist resources, and they offer a really distinctive cultural fingerprint for a region. They're kind of fundamental.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting and honestly a little heartbreaking. Despite this deep value, so many traditional crafts are, well, they're facing extinction. It's like the silent cultural extinction event happening.
Yeah, it really is.
And the main culprits seem pretty clear from the sources. First off, industrialization and mass production. It's starkly put. The rise of cheap, mass-produced goods makes it incredibly difficult for artisans to compete on price, on accessibility. Machine work is just...
Fast and very cost efficient. There's no competing with that on purely economic terms, often.
Right. And that ties into the next big challenge, urban migration. We found younger generations are increasingly drawn to cities, looking for different kinds of jobs, maybe perceived better opportunities, which naturally leads to a decline in the number of skilled craftspeople left in rural areas.
And that's a double blow, isn't it? You're not
Yeah.
just losing the craft skill itself, you're potentially jeopardizing the whole cultural heritage that defines these communities.
Mhm.
It also contributes to that demographic issue in rural areas. Populations getting older, higher risk of social exclusion.
And the economic pressures just pile on top of that. Our sources really hammered this home. Low profit margins, high manufacturing costs because of the intense labor involved. It makes handicrafts less competitive. It sounds like a
Mm.
vicious cycle.
It absolutely can be. And what's particularly frustrating, I found, is that even when there is demand, and there often is, both domestically and internationally, for unique handmade items,
Hmm.
the artisans themselves often see pitiable benefits.
Right, the value isn't getting back to them.
Exactly. We saw this pointed out especially in contexts like India, where middlemen often take the lion's share of the profits, leaving the very people who hold these incredible skills sometimes living below the poverty line. It's a systemic issue of value capture.
That's the crux of it, isn't it? How do you fix that? Can a sort of comprehensive, multi-pronged approach, as one source put it, really tackle something so deeply embedded? Our research suggests, yes, it can, but it needs that blend of respecting tradition while embracing, well, modern thinking. It seems to boil down to three key things: marketing, training, and infrastructure.
Exactly right. The path forward really does hinge on smart, multifaceted solutions. So one crucial area is skill development and training. It's not just about preserving old techniques, so that's vital. It's also about establishing programs to enhance existing skills, but also, crucially, introduce new techniques that align with current market trends.
So keeping it relevant.
Keeping it relevant, yeah. And that includes building business sense, emphasizing business acumen alongside craft skills, things like pricing strategies, managing inventory, customer engagement. We saw examples like India's Guru Shisha Hastshilp Prashikshan program, which specifically provides this kind of training.
That's vital, because you can have the most amazing products, but if nobody knows about them or if the business isn't sustainable. So that brings us to marketing and promotion. This seems absolutely paramount. The research really stressed needing a robust strategy using both traditional media and, importantly, digital platforms.
The digital side is huge now.
Yeah, I love the idea of using social media to show artisans at work, those behind-the-scenes glimpses, telling the stories about the cultural significance. It makes it personal. It connects you.
Absolutely. And it's not just broadcasting, it's targeted communication too, building a strong brand identity and localizing marketing content so it really resonates with specific audiences, whether regional or international. Think about collaborations with influencers, maybe bloggers focused on sustainable living or artisanal goods. That can amplify the message enormously. And, the old ways still work too. Attending trade shows lets artisans present directly to buyers, network with others in the industry. It builds that community.
Right, building the community around the craft.
Yeah.
And then there's the physical side, infrastructure development, creating dedicated workshops where artisans can work together, maybe share resources, foster that community spirit, establishing marketplaces, physical or virtual, where they can sell directly to consumers. These become like cultural hubs too.
Yeah, and even improving basic things like transportation networks so they can actually get their products to broader markets. It all connects.
And it's not just about preserving the past, right? It's about embracing the future.
Yeah.
Technology feels like a genuine game changer here. You mentioned digital platforms and things like Etsy, Amazon Handmade, eBay. They've opened up global markets for artisans. That's huge.
It is huge. A small village artisan can now potentially reach a customer anywhere in the world. Plus, you see large-scale initiatives like India's Digital India aiming to bring connectivity to rural areas, streamline supply chains.
And governments are stepping up too, it seems. The Indian government, for instance, has campaigns like Make in India. They're actively working to revive handicrafts, supporting thousands of artisans, getting their products displayed. It's a concerted effort.
And part of that effort, and what makes crafts appealing today, is focusing on quality and durability, and crucially, eco-friendliness. Consumers are increasingly conscious of these things. That's a major selling point for traditional, often sustainable crafts.
Okay, this raises a really important question for me. How are these revival efforts actually translating into bigger economic ripples, especially through things like tourism and this idea of the creative economy people talk about? It feels like there's a larger movement happening.
There absolutely is. There's a really powerful synergy there, particularly with tourism. Our research showed tourism has actually helped restore and close the disconnect between rural artisans and urban markets. Tourists are actively seeking authenticity now.
Right, they want real experiences.
Exactly. They want authentic experiences and local products. Crafts become these tangible symbols. Souvenirs, yes, but more than that, symbols of the places they visit. It's an ideal match. And what's fascinating is how this increased tourism directly gives artisans a bigger market, more demand. It can push their businesses towards real sustainability. This is where that UNESCO concept of intangible cultural heritage comes in, the traditional knowledge, the skills. It's not static. It's constantly recreated, passed on through apprenticeship, through doing. And this feeds directly into the creative economy. Industries like art, culture, design, innovation, they create jobs, stimulate growth.
And the scale of that is pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Consider this. Some estimates suggest cultural and creative industries currently provide nearly 30 million jobs worldwide. And they employ more young people, aged 15 and 29, than any other sector. Plus, nearly half the people working in these industries are women. Think about the potential for empowerment there, especially in rural settings.
Wow. And it's changing the nature of tourism too, right? It's not just about buying a souvenir anymore. It's about diving into the experience. Tourists want variety beyond handcrafts, the research said, towards gastronomy performances, local costumes, traditional-style homestays.
Exactly. Immersive experiences, things like hands-on crafting, maybe dancing with artisans, cooking traditional food alongside locals. It promotes what they call slow food, slow tourism.
Mm.
And the benefit, people stay longer, which means more spending locally and often higher tourist satisfaction because they've had a meaningful connection.
It really sounds like a win-win for the tourists, for the artisans, for the community.
And if we connect that to the bigger picture, the impact goes even deeper than economics. Beyond the money, these crafts foster real community pride, they strengthen cultural identity, they ensure these skills get passed down. It also helps with intercultural dialogue, encouraging respect for different ways of life.
Yeah, you see that in some initiatives, right? Like governments teaming up with big retailers or cultural centers to promote artisan brands, or programs getting students involved, experiencing crafts firsthand. It's about ensuring that continuity.
Precisely. It's about building a richer, more connected society, not just preserving artifacts.
Okay, but even with all these fantastic efforts and this growing recognition, the path isn't, perfectly smooth. There are still bumps, challenges. Artisans still face some really persistent hurdles. One of the biggest seems to be market access and pricing. Even with global demand growing, many still struggle to reach these markets, often relying on those intermediaries who might not offer fair prices.
Right. And that links back to the price point issue. Handmade items often have an inherently higher price point compared to mass-produced alternatives just because of the time and skill involved. It's a tough sell sometimes in a purely cost-driven market.
And that creates this tension, doesn't it? The tension between commercialization and authenticity. We saw how the push to appeal to broader markets can sometimes risk diluting the actual cultural and artistic essence of the craft.
That's a real danger.
Yeah.
And related to that is the problem of, well, fakes, essentially. Mass production of handmade crafts in factories, using machines or cheaper materials, but marketed as traditional. It undermines the value of genuine craftsmanship. It's a very tricky balance to maintain authenticity while achieving commercial viability.
And in our increasingly digital world, there's still that stubborn digital divide. As one source highlighted, many small businesses are excluded from the digital marketing landscape simply due to lack of reliable internet access. It's a fundamental barrier.
It is. But that said, the research also points towards some really exciting opportunities and future directions. There's cause for optimism. We're seeing predictions of significant growth in emerging markets, like places like Indonesia, Thailand, the Philippines, Vietnam, but also South America, the Middle East, Africa, rich cultural heritage there, plus a growing middle class.
Okay, so new markets opening up.
Exactly. And the demand for sustainable tourism isn't going away. People want authentic, eco-friendly destinations, which plays right into the strengths of traditional crafts. We're also seeing more artisanal collaborations, artisans working with contemporary designers. This creates really unique, innovative products and helps reach completely new audiences.
That sounds promising. And it's backed by policy, too, you mentioned.
Yeah, governments worldwide are making a growing effort. They're investing significant funds, billions, in cases like the European Agricultural Fund for Rural Development or Spain's plans specifically to combat rural depopulation. And crafts are seen as a crucial part of that strategy. Plus, the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, especially those around sustainable production and consumption, align perfectly with traditional crafts.
So it fits into these bigger global goals as well.
It does. And the academic community is increasingly interested too, connecting crafts with sustainability, poverty alleviation, economic development, even the environment, looking at things like the circular economy. And looking even further ahead, there's exploration of new technologies, 3D printing, augmented reality, new materials being used for designing and producing new craft-related products and services. It's surprisingly dynamic.
Wow. So it really sounds like the future for handicrafts is, well, pretty bright, actually. Significant growth projected. Forecasts suggesting the global market could hit over $2 trillion by 2032. That's an incredible turnaround potential.
It really is.
So wrapping this up, we've seen how traditional crafts are just so much more than decorative items, aren't they? They're powerful economic drivers, they're cultural anchors, and they're a key part of building resilient, vibrant rural communities. By empowering artisans with the right support, embracing technology smartly, and connecting them directly with you, the consumers, we can help ensure these invaluable skills and traditions aren't lost to time.
Absolutely. And ultimately, this whole initiative, it extends beyond just the economic benefits, important as they are. It really fosters that deep community pride, it strengthens cultural identity, and it ensures traditional skills are passed down through generations, keeping that living heritage alive. So maybe the next time you encounter a handmade item, you might pause and wonder, what new stories can you seek to uncover about its origins and about the community that brought it into being?